When you work in tech at Cox, you get to do meaningful work every day. You get to be the biker who codes as fast as he rides, crafting advanced tech solutions that transform car buying. Or a guitarist who develops harmonious apps and websites, connecting people to people and businesses, all in real time. A savvy soccer mom running solution sets as passionately as she runs gameplays. Be the super secret keeper, designing cybersecurity systems to protect private data and websites. A planet protector, expanding EV battery life and inventing more ways to build a better future for all. When you work in tech at Cox, you get to do career-defining work that solves the greatest problems of our time. Join us and connect to work that improves lives, including yours. Learn more about our family of businesses at cox.career/tech.
He was playing Cotton Eye Joe
Yes, he was.
at the end of his show.
Yes.
And I wonder if he was dancing.
I know he was, actually. I am 100% convinced that he was.
Finally, he played some decent music. Like, the only other decent song he's played before is the Star Spangled Banner.
No, he's played a couple other ones.
Name one besides Cotton Eye Joe.
No, what did he play 2 weeks ago that we were dancing to? We were dancing to that one.
We were dancing to that.
Which was just a horrid sight.
And thank God we didn't have a webcam.
I mean, there's no
for
such...
that.
if you want to see, like, White Boy Boogie, it was going on in here.
Right. Right. Are you going to intro the show or just, like, go right into General
Welcome to the
Jackass?
Sackheads Radio Show. Thank you. Thank you very much. All these, I appreciate you being here. Thank you. It is the 22nd of April, 2015. It is Wednesday, 8 p.m. in Pacific, 11 on the East Coast. It is time to strap in, sit down, and listen to us talk for 10 more minutes before we get to a subject. You know, that strong intro that we love to do. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. I'm doing okay.
Just okay.
Just okay.
Why is that?
The A's got killed
Yeah.
last night.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk about that with you.
It was ridiculous. Yeah, but they're playing again now, so that's okay.
Yeah, and hopefully they will do well.
We'll see. We'll see. Did you see the KC Oakland series?
Yeah, it was
and
a
everything that
nasty
transpired
series. It was a horrid series, and it's weird how rivalries pop up or could pop up
right
over one pitch.
Well, hang on a second. This started back last year when it was. Some people have touted the best playoff game ever. Oakland KC, right when Oakland lost.
Yeah, I'm gonna
for the one game playoff. But then they continued. It was a great game until Lowry slid in second, trying to break up the double play, and did injure the KC player. Not intentionally. He got thrown out after that. Took it, right? Because he knew he was going to get thrown out after that. But then in Game 3,
yes,
he took a 100-mile-per-hour fastball about head height that ended up going behind him. And both benches kind of came out and cleared. So I think KC-Oakland is going to be a huge rivalry. KC's going to be up in Oakland, I think, in June. And I'm going to go.
Well, you know, and it's funny. It's one of those things that, like I said, and coming from, you know, obviously Boston, with our ongoing rivalry with the Yankees and a couple other ones for years.
Just one or two.
Just one or two. To see this rivalry actually kind of kick off and start, because there was no rivalry
There was
before.
never a rivalry.
And it's funny how people are like trying to turn this into some, well, you know, Oakland was originally from KC and all this, or was in KC.
Philadelphia.
Well, but they were in KC. The organization was in KC for
Correct.
10 years or something like that.
When they, yeah.
You know, so it's crazy to me. It's just a rivalry. It just happens, and these are just solid games. And it's, you know, it's what baseball's all about. I'm very, very happy to see it. Very, very glad to be back in the swing of things. And we're going.
We are.
May 3rd? What game are we going to?
No, the 11th.
The 11th. That was it.
What game? Oakland, Boston. What other game would
I
we
know
go to?
that. I was asking
what
what
talking
day.
About then?
Oh, it's like talking
Oakland, Boston Day. That's what day we're going.
Oakland, Boston Day. We have so much on the big board of stuff tonight, and we're going to get to it eventually. I did want to wish you a happy Earth Day.
Oh, thank you. You know how I celebrated?
How?
So here's what I did. It's trash night for my house. So I took all of my recyclables out of the recycle bin because it's recycle week,
Right.
and I threw it in the trash can.
You madman.
And then, and with a note that said Happy Earth Day. And then I drove around in my 4-wheel drive truck aimlessly, just as much as
By
possible.
the way, most
Yeah.
people don't realize the note was written on a plastic bag
Right,
with spray paint,
Right.
full of CFCs.
right.
You
No,
just-
absolutely.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah, and
that.
empty Aquanet bottles, right, that I just went down and bought.
At the 5 and dime,
Right. At the 99-cent store.
you cleaned out their storage.
Right. And then I wanted to dump paint down the storm drain, but I didn't because I don't want to get charged with a felony. Because it's California, right? Like, you can deal drugs.
Misdemeanor.
Right, right.
But if you,
but if you
even
break a light
think
bulb,
about
don't
it,
throw a light bulb away.
don't throw a light bulb. Don't spill paint accidentally.
No. Don't throw a battery in the trash.
Welcome to California,
You'll go
where
to
up is
prison.
down and down is up. And
Yeah. What are you in for? Threw a battery away.
what are you into? Oh, yeah. Have you seen those long, thin light bulbs? Throw one in the dumpster.
Yeah.
Really? You're a madman. Yeah, what are you in for? Murder. Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing.
You're going to be out in 5 to 10.
What
I'm
am
doing
I
a
in
full
for?
25.
I washed my car on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Even the murderers would be like, well, dude, we're in a drought.
Yeah. California, with even the murderers are liberals. You did what? All of a sudden, the child molesters are beating up on them. Like, normally it's the other way around. They're the lowest form, but now it's all of a sudden the environmental criminals, if you will, which are all environmental criminals. I was
Speak for yourself. I'm not an environmental criminal.
sure.
What I want to know is why our tax dollars are being used in schools
Uh-huh.
to have kids do like Earth Day posters, like Save the Earth. What kind? I don't
don't have a problem with it to a point.
I don't teach them something constructive.
Well, I don't have a problem with them preserving parts of the earth in the sense of.
Name one part of the Earth you want to preserve besides the United
forest.
States.
Oh, I meant the United States.
Right.
I didn't mean about the rest of them.
Right.
Just us.
Exactly.
But I have no problem teaching kids to respect the resources that they use.
Right.
And by doing that, in my opinion, that's what Earth Day should be.
It should be, but it's
It shouldn't
not.
be the propaganda about global climate. What is it? Change now? What do we call it now?
I don't know. I don't follow
Ridiculousness.
That. Ridiculousness.
Global climate
Climate
ridiculousness.
change.
No, I think it's not. I don't
it
think
something
it's.
different
I think
now?
yeah, it's now from maybe
The climate changed just in the last 2 hours we've been prepping this show.
Right, it cooled off
It
a
cooled
lot.
off a lot, and I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because I threw some stuff in the trash that I shouldn't have.
Oh man, we were just talking before the show about water and just how insane this state is.
Oh, yeah.
And
we are in this mess because we created this mess.
For those of you around the country laughing at us here in California,
we deserve it.
We kind of deserve it.
No, we definitely deserve
Yeah.
it. By we, I mean the liberals, because we don't deserve it.
We don't deserve
because
it
we
whatsoever.
think the fish should die.
Right. And we're in a massive quote-unquote drought
Right. Because we
that
waste
is
billions of
completely
gallons
man-made.
of water.
It's
Right.
completely man-made.
Yes.
We could have built reservoirs 8 years ago. The state of California approved these reservoirs.
Same levels we had in the 70s.
Same levels we had in the
and
70s.
our population has exploded.
Yep, absolutely.
And yet we let rainwater and runoff from the mountains flow
We
into the Pacific
pump it
Ocean.
out to change. There's a lake.
Dave's Killer Bread is ready to rock your January reset with killer taste, killer nutrition, and a chance to win a VIP concert prize pack. Text RESET to 73876 to enter. No purchase necessary. Visit daveskillerbread.com/reset for details.
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service, real-time updates only in iOS mobile apps. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
Folsom, California, that they pumped out.
I think it's called Folsom Lake.
Yeah, I think it's pumped out like. Good, that's a good name for it.
Yeah, this should be a great name.
I want
for
to know
it.
who the marketing genius that came up with that was.
Yeah, what are we going to call this lake? I don't know. It's in Folsom. How about Folsom Lake? You nailed it.
But they
And
pumped
then
out what?
They just wanted
half
to
a million gallons of water or something ridiculous to change the temperature 2 degrees for the spawning of salmon
Yeah, why wouldn't you do that?
or crawfish. I don't even know what it was. But we're going.
It might
This
have been
was just.
tadpoles.
This was just a couple weeks ago or like 2 months ago now.
Yeah.
Because
but we're going to time your showers.
Right.
right?
But
You
we're
can't
gonna-
water your green lawns. No, you can't have those anymore.
And
It's a
they-
felony. What are you in for? I had a green lawn.
Tim Shea, who's a new listener in the chat room, the Chilean volcano spewed more greenhouse gases into the atmosphere in one afternoon than humanity has generated since Earth Day 1970. I don't doubt that whatsoever. And it's funny.
What I want to know is why Mother Earth hates herself so much.
Right? Why would she do that?
Maybe she's trying to commit suicide, which maybe we need to help her even more.
Intervention.
Intervention.
We need to
have
have
a
an
Mother
intervention.
Earth intervention. It
We gotta
should be
book-
Mother
we should-
Earth Intervention Day.
We should book her on the show because she
Right.
obviously needs help. I think it's completely just so conceited of mankind to assume that we could even attempt to affect the Earth more than we like. I think we've learned time and again that when the Earth has had enough of us being in a certain area,
Well, listen, we
it
obviously
finds a way to alter
That's
us.
not true. Look, we created that first ice age.
We did, and then when the temperature spiked a couple hundred years later,
Right.
and wiped half
That
the
was
planet,
because of us
That was
also.
also because of us,
Because-
for all the cars that we were driving around back then.
Right, yeah.
I'm pretty
All the
sure.
trash we were throwing.
Did Jesus drive a Pinto?
No. He had a big lifted truck.
Oh, was it a big lifted? Oh, he was with the giant, 12-inch smokestacks.
Right.
Right. That's exactly what happened. It's insane to me what they will blame on this, but not take any blame for themselves. You could have increased our infrastructure. We could give a
about
damn
you
less
stop? How
about
about-
a 3-inch fish.
I see what you did there. Damn less because we haven't built.
I
any
should have said 2
dams
dams less, actually, but
recently.
one joke was good enough for now.
You literally just looked at me with I nailed it look and took a drink of your black tea lemonade.
Yeah, I do that
The only thing
sometimes.
you didn't do is high five yourself.
I do that on the day show because you're not there.
Right.
So I actually have a mirror in front of me in my little studio for the day.
With
and I
my
look at
picture
myself,
taped to it, so it still has like a body that moves.
and we high five. It's pretty cool.
You need to get a mannequin arm. Just have like a mannequin
Like a
arm
pull
sitting
string
there.
on Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Right.
Self high five. Bink.
Clint, what do you think? Perfect.
That's all I hear when you talk, anyhow.
I'm sorry, what?
What? So yeah, we're in this insane, and people are going nuts out here about this. Like, oh, it's the worst since the '70s. This, that, and the other thing. They don't realize. Remember with the Ice Age? Does everyone remember the Ice Age we were about to go into? All the scientists were talking about it. Like Jerry Brown says, 90% of the scientists agree. I think 97% of the scientists agree that we were going into an ice age then. Never happened. No ice age. Al Gore
It
said
just
what?
hasn't happened yet.
In the last 9 years, Al Gore said that the ice caps would be completely gone. They're
They
bigger
are.
now.
They are. Oh, they are.
They're bigger now than
Oh, I
they
thought
were
they
9
were
years
gone.
ago.
I thought they were gone.
Here's
I'm
the
behind
best
curve
part
on
about
this.
Al Gore. He's so convinced the oceans will rise that he owns oceanfront property where he lives. Isn't that a tell? Never mind the fact that he flies all over the place on a private jet. Let's just throw that to the side for a minute because jet fuel doesn't hurt anything based on their science. That he's a buffoon. We all know that he's a buffoon. But at least be a good liar. You know? Sell the product.
He is.
Live-
He's the product, and he's selling it. Right? Recycle it.
Put floaties on it.
Put floaties on.
if I can buy a solar system for your house and it saves you money, that's capitalism. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the choice of, hey, you know what? This is better for my family and it saves me $80, $90 a month, whatever it is. That's capitalism. I'm fine. I'm not against solar. I'm against being forced into solar. I'm against being forced into this green ridiculousness.
Well, not only I want to get back to California real quick. We're not only talking about a drought. We're talking about our agriculture that has suffered as well because we can't get water to the farmlands.
Yes.
I mean, we used to raisins. Right, because there's that big fight right now for
California raisins, right? I saw them.
Right?
They dance fight. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
No, different one.
Oh,
that was
okay.
a different video. Just went to this argued in front of the Supreme Court of whether the federal government, right, takes like half their raisins. It's so ridiculous. Anyways, like even the liberal judge was like,
"What?
Oh, wait, what?
How does this even happen?"
It's FDR's policies. He was a huge conservative. But if you used to drive down through California, from Northern California to Southern California.
The Grapevine?
No. North of the Great. Don't be a smart aleck.
Oh, sorry.
Likes it. Nobody likes a smart aleck. I do. I love doing the show with you. But it used to be, remember the orchards on both sides? You had almond orchards and oranges and everything else?
Yes.
Not anymore. It's a dust bowl.
Yeah.
Because they can't get water because we're trying to save a damn fish. And now it's compounded that we've had less snowfall, less rainfall, and we're diverting much of that water still away. So now
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service, real-time updates only in iOS mobile apps. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
What you're hearing is Hardie Fiber Cement Siding living up to its reputation as the siding that helps resist weather damage, no matter what Mother Nature throws its way. James Hardie knows how important a reputation is, especially when you're a home builder. That's why Hardie products withstand the elements better than wood-based siding, with styles to match their strength. Because when home builders work with us, we deliver our best so they can look their best. Protect your reputation with exterior products by James Hardie.
Most of the state is experiencing these drought conditions, but it's affected our agriculture as well. We used to be the breadbasket of the nation and had a huge economic impact on that. And it's
a little crazy now.
Yeah.
Well, and
a lot crazy now.
Here's the
How
thing.
much revenue have we lost as a state because of the suffering our agriculture has been through and the regulation we've put through them, not just the water? How much has our economy declined because of that?
Yeah, oh no, it's countrywide, and a lot of people outside of the state don't realize how California
screwed up California.
Well, no, they know.
Oh, okay.
They make fun of us, but the agriculture in California feeds, I think it's 90% of the country, and that's not an exaggeration. Now, right now, what's going on is they're going to have to raise prices because it's costing them more when they're allowed to actually farm for water to create these whatever it is they're creating. Mm-hmm. And then that cost is going to get turned around when it's sold to the public. We're already still in a wobbling economic situation in our country. We haven't recovered from anything. Every economist will tell you that we haven't recovered. So now we're driving.
As a matter of fact, they're talking about going through a second dip.
Second dip. So now you're talking about increasing the cost of our food for people throughout the country. At the end of the day, it comes back to a damn 3-inch fish. Think about how crazy that is. That the entire country, the cost of food will go up when people are still not making enough money because of just government everything. Like I said, last week everyone paid their taxes. I mean, and you paid big.
Well, not everybody paid their taxes. Some people got money back that didn't pay anything.
Right, and then you have Al Sharpton, who owes $3 to $4 million in taxes, and
that's just because it's
Melissa Harris Perry or whatever her name is on MSNBC. You know, MSNBC has 4 hosts that are currently right now in huge debt to the U.S. government, and nothing's being done about it. But what can I do? There's nothing I can do. We're just caught. We're just absolutely caught. And they keep pushing it. There's a humongous like climate meeting, and they're all going to sit around. You know, I kind of think about it like D&D guys. Like the image of Dungeons and Dragons guys where they're all sitting in the basement and they're all wearing like their funny wizard hat and stuff. That's really what I'm starting to picture with some of these environmentalists, because it's getting that crazy. It really is.
So is it a religion? Are we not allowed to talk about them now because they're a protected class? Is this hate speech that you are engaging
why
in
would
right
you
now?
even bring that up? You know that's going to come next.
It's Mother Earth.
Right.
They worship Mother Earth.
Why would you give them that idea?
It's a brilliant idea because I want to charge royalty for it. I'm a capitalist. Why wouldn't I give them that idea?
Oh, man. And
Note
also,
the date and time of this show, Sacco. We just gave a huge marketing idea to the environment.
I love how Sacco just goes, okay.
Yeah, no, and he did. Look, he's typing it right now.
He's on it.
He's typing a note.
He's not the best producer in the business for nothing, folks.
Yeah, he is. No, he is the best producer for nothing.
Right, literally for nothing. We don't pay him
he is
anything.
the best producer that we have, and we don't get much in return either. Let's be honest.
At all.
At all.
At all.
Zero.
We don't really. He actually costs us money because the cost of caging him, feeding him in the cage,
cleaning the cage out because he won't do it himself.
It's definitely
hosing him down.
Yeah,
because he's got all that hair.
Right.
So and then cleaning the drain.
Well, we brought him to that groomer's that one time.
I remember that. They put all those bows all over his hair, remember?
We said give him a lion cut.
And a flea dip. They gave him a flea dip, which was weird.
They thought it was the first talking dog they'd ever met. It was awesome.
They were filming him and everything.
We high-fived it. It was on YouTube. You can find it.
Yeah. They paid us money to clean him.
Right.
So
they want to bring him back. Have a Saturday event out of it.
They're like, I loved you in Star Wars.
See the new Star Wars trailer?
Yes.
I am pumped. I am absolutely excited about that.
No,
it's
I know.
Awesome. Sacco is not in rehab yet. We're working on it. It's something we got to get him to go to. First, we have to get him to actually need to go to rehab, which we're working on that first.
Right. So we're trying to, when he's in his cage, we actually sedate him. And then we try and pump him full of addictive substances because in California, it's not really a crime to have those things.
Right.
So we're trying to get him hooked on.
And you know the little hamster water bottles that we hook onto the side?
Yeah.
Full of whiskey. That's all we put into his whiskey.
No, it's just whiskey.
So we're getting there. We will get him to rehab at some point.
Back in the chat room, Sacco, that's messed up, bro. You deserve a good conditioner.
It absolutely.
We give him a good conditioner. It's from the dollar store. It's been tested on other animals.
Something like that.
Well, you're the one drawing the parallel here. I'm just trying to follow
just
along.
Just the fact that they're going to throw a nomination and have it affect the bill, especially something as serious as sex trafficking. The two should not matter. And the fact that they have to cut a deal on one to get the other is, to me, just says that they don't really give a damn about sex trafficking. It's all about getting Loretta Lynch nominated. And it really, to me, it's an insult to anyone who's been a victim of sex trafficking. It's absolutely BS.
So what are you saying? They should actually do their job and just straight up or down
I know.
vote?
I'm asking a lot, and I'm sorry. I'm asking a lot out of our
Do you not
government.
know how this game is played, Sean?
Apparently, I'm an idiot.
Yeah. I mean, look who we have in the Senate right now.
Yeah, I know. I know. Did you hear that Limp Wrist Lindsay's allegedly going to throw his name into the ring for 2016? If that doesn't take you out of the head goes down. It would go down further, but the nose is already touching the floor. Man, it's a tough room tonight. Tough room.
Oh, wow. What did I say to deserve that? I didn't deserve that at all.
Tough room, ladies and gentlemen.
Man.
But getting back to Loretta Lynch, I've heard a lot of mixed emotions about her being nominated. There's actually some conservatives out there. I think it was Hugh Hewitt the other day who was saying, hey, listen, she has a good prosecutorial record. She might be a Democratic appointee and she might be a huge Democrat, but she may actually stick to her guns. And she may actually...
No, she'd try and take them.
Well, if the law is passed, yeah. Yeah, she would try to take them.
No, she'd try and, regulate something, right?
Yeah, and I don't know. And listen, it's hard to, in situations like this, it's hard to say what she's going to be like once she gets in. Yeah, she had a pretty decent prosecutorial history. There was a couple cases we talked about when this all first came up that we didn't necessarily agree with. But overall, she kind of did what she was supposed to do. Now, the flip side of this, of course, is going to be now that she's a nominated bureaucrat, essentially, is she going to, essentially kiss up to the hand that's feeding, or is she going to actually go in and do her job? And that's yet to be seen. I have a feeling she's going to kiss up to the hand that's feeding. But I'm hoping, just like I hope a lot of times, because that's all we can do when we don't really have a say in it, I just hope the right thing is done. And I hope that she gets in there and she just does her job as the Attorney General versus playing political shill. My money's on political shill.
I was just going to say, I said, name one person in this administration that has actually just gone in and done their job and is still there. Ready to go. Just one.
Hold on. Joe
Biden.
He did exactly what they want to do. Joe takes the heat when it's time. He goes out and says, they just unleash him. They don't even give him a script. He just goes out and says something stupid when they need a distraction, or he goes back into his room and plays with Legos.
But as he had to cast a vote in the Senate. Really, that's his only job.
I know.
So he hasn't done his job either.
They haven't needed him.
He's done his
political
political
job. Would
job.
you put the vote in Joe's hand?
They don't have a choice.
But would you?
I would, just because I want to hear what he says when he casts it.
Guys, it's 50-50. We all know if we pass this, it's going to go to Joe.
Right.
And we all know that Joe doesn't have a damn clue of what we're talking about.
Right.
So we got to fix this before he screws it up.
Joe, how are you going to vote? I don't know. What are you giving me? The Republicans are giving you broads, and the Democrats are giving you booze.
Oh.
How do I get both?
Can I split my vote? Because there's somebody else that'll come in and split that, right? I'm good. It's a lot of pressure. I'm the vice president, for God's sake.
Look, I'm going to have to try both first and see which one I like better. Is it good whiskey?
I don't know.
We're talking biker broad? What are we talking about?
Joe, yay or nay? Friggin' Tuesday. No, Joe, yay or nay? All right, fine. I'll have the veal. Joe, have you been drinking? No, that's the damn problem. Here, do 2 shots. Yay. Son of a bitch. He works better when he's drunk.
Go chase butterflies.
Okay. Give me the net. Tell Barry I'm coming to the office. Just running around. Heartbeat
I hope he's the
away.
nominee for 2016.
He's a heartbeat away.
There's no way, but I hope he's the nominee.
No, I hope.
I hope he wins.
You know what?
Our show would be so set for the next 4 years if he wins.
If you're listening and you're not in the chat room, go to shrmedia.com and click live chat. We have a lively group in there tonight. We really appreciate them. I hope he wins too. You know what? I would take it at that point. Because
you take it at any point.
We're capitalists anyhow. And think about what that'll do for our company if we have 4 years of solid material.
Oh, yeah.
Supply and demand, baby.
Yeah, T-shirts.
T-shirts. I dare Joe Biden. Maybe we could get him to come on and just do some dares.
Ooh,
how great would that be?
That would be great. He might even do it, too.
Joe, this involves Vaseline, 2 backflips, and a got it!
We didn't even finish.
Joe's an elephant at the end. I know! Woo! I actually submitted that one myself. Oh, and Jersey Joe shows up in the chat room, starts throwing singers out right away. Sacco, kick him out. Of course, we support Vermin Supreme. He's number 2. He's Joe's VP, actually. Those two together would be great. We're up against a break. When we come back, we're going to discuss everybody's friend in the Middle East. Iran so hard.
You can't say
I ran all the way home.
You can't say that you ran because anybody
that would be a lie.
Look at you would know that you were full of garbage.
Liar! I waddled.
And I rolled. My hover round.
I'll get there eventually. Hover round. We'll be back in 3 of the Sackheads radio show.
That?
You don't remember the commercial? Live on the SHR Media Network. Sacco, do whatever the hell it is you do.
Do something.
By corrupt politicians.
You got a business. You didn't build that.
A team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying cow for the stupid promo.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
This is Tammy Jackson, inviting you to join me on The Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on the 405radio.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberties, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that's not like all the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific for me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
Who listens to the Andrea Kaye Show? Let's find out as we eavesdrop on listener Roger Johnson in Encinitas.
You know, if our policy is going to be bring any child who comes across the border,
okay, so apparently Roger fell asleep in the middle of my brilliant political tirade, and now he plans to sue me because I put him on the air, sleeping. Obviously, he's a liberal.
Snoring, not an option while listening to the Andrea Kaye Show, Tuesday mornings at 11 on Financial News and Talk.
You know I'm right. Y'all know I'm right.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
I said intro us.
I told you I'm not going to do it.
Welcome to part...
Thank you. Thank you. I stand my ground.
Welcome to part 2 of the Sackheads Radio Show. Thank you so much for sticking with us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I've stuck with you a long time. And you should be thanking me for that.
Yes.
Not like Sacco.
Right. No, I know. What?
No, you can't get out of the cage, Sacco.
Sacco, this place would be on fire and you're staying, all right? You're part of the team.
Yeah.
Don't threaten us with false quitting. We don't accept your resignation.
You can't outrun 900 feet per second.
No, he can leave whenever he wants.
Yeah, it's a free country, Sacco. What kind of communist are you?
You're just jammed in, buddy.
I know. Not my fault you decided to fly a helicopter. There's no ejection seat.
Well, there is, but you don't want to use
it. Well.
Yeah, it's not going to go well at all.
Not going to go well at all for you.
That thing would have to be crazy quick.
I want to try and design one.
Ooh, maybe we could design one for Iran.
That would be a good one.
Iran ejection seat and helicopters.
We'll give them equipment. And it just randomly ejects mid-flight.
Here you go.
We'll teach you guys how to fly it. And then we have the button over here. Watch this.
Eject.
What was that?
It was them getting chopped up.
Yeah, but the last part.
Well, that was the last sound it made. I didn't listen. I can only design the seat. I can't design the sound it makes.
That's true.
What? Thank you. That was the engine seizing.
The engine seized.
All right. Thank you, Sacco.
The engine seized.
Good recovery, buddy.
Yeah, nice work. See, why do you have his back, Sacco? As much as he talks about you and talks about putting you in a cage and treating you not like a human and how you're a hairy, woolly mammoth beast.
I never said woolly mammoth. We were talking about the Mammoth Lakes earlier.
Yes.
And you called him a woolly mammoth.
I did not call him a woolly mammoth. Play the show back.
That was before the show.
Listen, nobody
We've
knows
talked
what
about this
happens
before.
the show.
You can't randomly just
Yes,
say play it back when we're not on the air.
Yes, I can. Because we are always on the record. Right?
No. I hope not.
We're not.
So what if I told you?
No, what if I told you?
What if I told...
that we may give Iran $50 billion signing bonus? What is this, freaking Major League Baseball? Why are we giving countries signing bonuses?
We really want to get this kid to the bigs.
Right. Yeah, hey, Iran, look at...
North Korea is showing interest.
$50 billion you sign. What do you say?
Russia's showing interest. There's a lot of people going after this young kid. He's a hot young arm. I mean, his nickname's the Nuke.
Right. Nuke Duluth.
How are we going to get him to the table?
$50 billion.
$50 billion signing bonus. Awesome. That's good because we're already giving him everything else that he wants in this contract. Yeah, I might as well throw a cool 50 on top of it.
Right. Well, no. That's on top of the $11 billion in assets we're going to unfreeze.
Well,
that they're gonna have access to. So that's a potential $61 billion bill. And it's guaranteed. That's not performance-based, right? It's not you hit 30 home runs and you get... No, you just sign. Potential $61 billion deal. Day one.
It's absolutely amazing.
We're going to come inspect you, and here's $1 billion.
We're already giving them everything they want.
We're going to come inspect. Here's another $1 billion.
This is the worst negotiation ever.
We found enriched uranium. We're not going to give you $1 billion this month.
Sacco, I think, got the link. Ron's asking in the chat room if you got the link. Press 1 for yes, 2 for no. Come on, Sacco, get your head in the game. Now, Iran... I just want to know...
why Sacco comes for this abuse
every
week.
I can't figure it out.
Well, the State Department was asked about it. Hey, are you guys seriously going to give Iran $50 billion on top of the $11 billion?
And we're going to pay for it. We're already in a deficit.
Right.
And we're going to throw $50 billion at the Iranian mullahs. And right now...
Right, because what are they going to do with that money? They're going to enrich freaking uranium.
How much uranium can you enrich with $50 billion?
That's probably what they're thinking.
I don't know, but pretty soon we'll find out.
Maybe the $50 billion is to pay for the ships we're about to sink with theirs.
Well, yeah. So early, a couple days, was it Monday? They announced that we're sending warships over to the Gulf of Aden off the coast of Yemen.
Right.
To block...
to intercept.
Well, intercept.
Well, shadow. We're not going to launch it.
We'll shadow.
Yeah.
We're just going to shadow. That sounds so cute.
We're going to take the one aircraft carrier we have in the region.
Right.
And pull it away from supporting the airstrikes.
Well, we don't need that.
And we're just going to shadow.
To do nothing.
To
literally...
We're going to fly jets over them and take pictures.
We're literally going to be hall monitors of the Gulf of Aden.
No, it's a photo shoot.
We're hall monitors.
No, we're not. It's a modeling agency. With Iranian ships.
Mr. United Nation, they have what we believe is to be missiles on that ship detention.
Okay. What'd you do about it? We took pictures.
We weren't allowed to do anything. Well, could you have done something? Oh, yeah. We could have sunk in about 19 seconds. But instead, those arms are going to go through, and then
Right.
the country of Yemen is going to fall. You remember Yemen? That was the one that Obama said was the example for the Middle East for how to stop terrorism.
Yeah, no, it'll be fine.
So on the left hand,
So on one hand, we're going to give them $50
billion
plus
and nukes.
$11 billion in unfrozen assets,
and nukes,
and then we're going to blow their stuff up.
and then on the other hand,
Potentially.
we're allowing them to support.
No, we're not.
the
We're shadowing them.
We're allowing them to support
No,
the Houthis.
we're not. We're shadowing them,
who are
Sean.
overtaking the country of Yemen.
We are not allowing them. We are shadowing them.
Doesn't
what
matter.
part of this don't you understand?
I don't speak.
We moved an aircraft carrier.
We just spent more money than we needed
You
to.
don't on Earth Day,
On Earth Day, using nuclear power.
right? You don't. Now, why is it we don't have solar aircraft carrier under development under this administration?
We probably do.
That's what I want to know.
You look at all the green ships, and you know that's
I want
the
to
funny
know
part
right
is,
now why we don't have solar-powered warships.
Because it sucks.
But it's green, Sean.
Well, there is a lot of green warships being developed that this administration is trying to push through, even though the Navy says they don't meet the need in the service.
They don't work.
They don't work. Well, yeah, they don't meet the need, so they don't work.
They don't work. So what can we launch?
So let's keep
with
jamming
this?
that.
What can we launch with this green carrier? A Cessna 152, and a helicopter.
Would that be a...
By helicopter, I meant those balsa wood gliders. That
I was going to say, would that be an attack helicopter? No, remote control.
No, balsa wood.
Oh, like a drone? No, like a legit remote control helicopter.
And what's your catapult system? You know those rubber bands with the plastic handles? It's that we're going to use.
Only we don't like to use rubber because, when you make rubber, you have to use petroleum and all that stuff. So it's like a really taut string that's made from hemp. It's a hemp string. And we have 5 guys who are all really eating granola that are going to
wearing Birkenstocks because that's the new uniform.
that are going to pull it down the runway and hopefully not.
And they're
going
to make noises. They're going to go when they do.
And we're going to launch those bad boys 10, 20 feet in the air. And you know what? People will cringe. It's almost going to be like Dianne Feinstein said, if the good guys put down their guns, the bad guys are going to put down their guns. It's the same theory.
Right, because
if
that's
we don't attack the Iranian
happens
ships
on the streets of America
all the time,
right?
And if we don't attack the Iranian ships,
they're not going to deliver.
They're
goods.
not going to deliver.
They're going to turn around.
It's our fault. They're delivering.
They're going to see the error of their ways, Sean.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is why the world doesn't get along.
Any day now. Any day now.
Right.
It's
The only
happen.
reason they're continuing to steam that direction is because we're shadowing them.
Right.
We are provoking them.
It's all about how wrong we are.
The United States is wrong.
We suck at
as
this.
Always.
I mean, that's the problem. Is we suck at this.
We do suck at this now.
Yeah.
Because before, we'd have blown their asses out of the water.
What do we have? Like 600 ships under Reagan? I think it was something like 600.
What do we have? Like 3 now under
sub 3.
How many? We're down 1 carrier group.
We have 10.
Right.
We're supposed to need 11.
Right.
According to the Constitution, I believe.
No.
There's a law out there stating the minimum amount that we can have.
The Constitution does not say we have 11 aircraft carriers.
It does.
Are you kidding me? We did not have aircraft carriers at the time the Constitution was
We just
drafted.
didn't have aircraft.
Right.
So whose fault? Who's wrong now?
Yeah, you're right,
dummy.
Mr. Smarty Pants. Like they didn't make paper airplanes back then.
Per law,
sure they didn't.
I just picture the British commander on the British ship with just the paper airplane comes in and hits him in the head. Damn it! They brought the aircraft carrier. Oh, I want to do a cartoon of that. Now, anyhow, we're supposed to have 11.
Yeah, because it's constitutional.
Because it's constitutional.
We have it in the Constitution specifically.
Prove me wrong.
Right. Okay.
No.
No, hang on.
No, I'm saying, prove me wrong.
Is it one of the amendments? I'm going to have to read the entire Constitution on air to prove that it's not in there.
That's going to make for great radio.
It is.
No, I don't believe it's one of the amendments. I believe it's one of the...
It's actually in the body? Okay, perfect. Go ahead.
So... Try the preamble. It's there somewhere.
Look, it clearly shows your ignorance because it was in the Articles of Confederation. Now go ahead.
I think it was in the Louisiana Purchase. I don't remember right now.
I don't remember. We bought something.
I
don't know.
What the hell they purchase? I don't know.
A carrier.
A carrier. We needed it. The Brits are attacking. Ask Andrew Jackson about it. He pushed him way back. Anyhow, Old Hickory, the craziest president we've ever had.
Ooh, I'm going to disagree.
Ooh, who are you going to go with?
As craziest president we've ever had?
I mean just like crazy in the sense of never back down from a fight. Crazy.
Or just like kill everybody and take like manifest destiny, just whatever.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. He literally said that at one point he wanted to bathe in English blood. That's pretty wacky.
How's that wacky? That's beautiful. He had a soldier slice his cheek and hand when he was a kid. I'd probably hate them too.
Dude, and then the attack on Louisiana and New Orleans, he went insane.
He did. It was great.
Old Hickory. You got to love the guy who somebody runs up and tries to assassinate him, and both pistols misfire. First of all, that's how you know that guy was going to live until he decided he wanted to die.
Right.
Because the odds are that, and I just read something today, it was like 155,000 to none that would happen.
Or to 1 since it actually happened.
No, it's none.
Okay.
Because I said it was.
Okay.
Damn it.
I'm
Would
sorry.
you just stay up?
Yes.
And then he beats him with his cane. He was a sitting president at the time.
Yes.
So awesome. So anyhow, the Ohio-class submarines.
Which were also in the Constitution.
Which were also in...
specifically Ohio class.
Yeah, I believe they were.
I was just educating our listeners.
Specifically the Ohio class. But what the hell's an Ohio class submarine? Just trust me, in about 275 years, this is going to be pretty pertinent.
Just put it in there.
That Hancock's a wacko.
It wasn't Hancock, it was Madison.
Madison. I'm sorry, I forgot Madison
know your
put
history.
that in.
We always talk about source documents on this show and the importance of knowing history, Sean. You're embarrassing me tonight.
Madison put it in. The hell's an aircraft carrier? You will get to it, trust me.
Franklin, I need you to invent something.
Trust me, you're going to be famous if you put this in now. Years from now, they're going to talk about it on talk shows. What's a talk show? Dude, don't even get me started.
Look,
have you heard of the Sackheads?
Pretty sure we're in the Constitution somewhere, too.
I'm pretty sure the word sack was in there originally. But you just have to think back then they talked a little bit differently. So we'll find it. And then the Ohio-class submarines are coming to the end of their... Look at you. Just all beat red and big-nosed, huh?
Wow. You know, I haven't said
I'm
anything
hateful
about
tonight.
You are hateful
I am
tonight.
hateful tonight.
You are.
I don't know why.
Because I made you eat a tuna sandwich.
You did. The Ohio-class submarines are coming to the end of their operational ability. There's not much. We don't have anything in the water to replace it. We don't even have a hull down. And we only have a couple years left on them.
Right.
Which is scary in itself because they're kind of our forefront of our nuclear attack.
Yeah, and I think what they're actually proposing is the California class, which it doesn't go in water because there is none anyways. And it's really green because it uses no fuel.
It just launches a sign.
Right.
We're sorry.
Please stop.
Oh, God, they brought the California class submarines. Boop. Big. Please stop. Oh, they're serious this time. California class. Dude, that in itself is funny. Just the thought of it. I just picture a whole bunch of sailors
the
coming
San
out.
Francisco class.
Slap fights.
Bright pink.
You know, and that's fine. We're not judging.
No, we're not judging. Is that an American flag ship? No, it's rainbow flag. That's weird. What? I don't even know what that is.
Is that Greenpeace? When did they get a submarine? Right. It is Earth Day.
Does it shoot missiles? No, it shoots flower petals. It's weird. Bizarre.
It shoots messages of encouragement. You can do it by not bombing Israel. Yay! Or just bomb them. We really don't care anyhow. But they're coming to the end of their operational tenure. There's nothing to replace it.
Glitter cannon.
I can't move on. We're not going to get over this. All right, everyone get it out now. Come on, let's go. Light the chat.
By illegal immigrants.
This is why if you're listening and you're not in the chat, you miss all the good stuff in the chat. Banned by illegal immigrants. With free health care.
Oh, yeah.
because we're about to give them that too in this state. It
Right.
just gets better. Everything in the state gets better.
It's all pedal powered.
It's all pedal powered, the entire state. Visual attack with jazz hands. Oh, man. So, but we don't have a plan in place. We don't have anything in place. We have some designs, but there's no hulls being built. And you got to talk, you're looking at 10 to 12, 15 years to develop and put these into the water and get sea trials out of the way, get them manned, get them trained up. And
I would be more worried if the Soviets had their ballistic missile nuclear submarine fleet patrolling the world waters again.
Yeah,
I would be.
That
more
would make
concerned.
me worry a little bit more.
That would,
and you know what?
Wait, they do.
I'd also be nervous if they were flying like airspace incursions with other nations that they don't agree with,
or coming up to our shores, which we've covered before.
So,
anyways, we're in a proxy war now.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, with Iran.
With Iran,
but we're going to give them a lot of money.
We're literally giving money to a country we're in a proxy war with, because we're supporting Yemen,
right?
And we have been. And let's not talk about, what was it, the $500 billion in equipment that they lost when the Yemen government fell?
Right.
And we don't have a damn ship to put in the water in a few years to fight the Russians, who are going to have... does anyone else see just the insanity that's going on with all of this?
Here's the other issue. You and I were talking about it earlier. And it's we have fun with this show, but this is actually serious. We're down one carrier group from what we should have. We're talking about reducing the military force that we have. And look, I agree. There are bases in the world that we needed before we had certain power, certain innovations that could get us where we needed to be in a timely manner. So there are bases in the world that we could close down. I 110% agree. But we're talking about military reductions and force reductions, and yet we're asking our military to do the same, if not greater amount of work.
Right.
And you can't do it.
Now more than ever.
You can't do it. So I agree. Look, we could have some cost savings and have some closures. Absolutely. But we can't reduce like we're trying to reduce and still ask the military to be peacekeepers here and here and here and do all these. They can't do it.
Well, and even our allies, and Jason Miller brought it up in the chat room, the Trident program, which is Britain's submarine, their nuke submarines, they're all in dry dock too right now. So we will have no ability to combat, the peace through strength that Reagan was so big on and had so many ships for a reason. I mean, what aircraft carrier did we pull out of mothballs in the height of the Cold War? I forget what it was, but he pulled one out of mothballs because we needed it. We need to have that ability. We need to have that reach. We are in a much more tumultuous time now than we've been in the last 20 years.
We are, and we do have some ships in mothballs.
Yep, and we're I hate to say it, but we're one bad communication away.
Look, one ship I would like to see return to service is the Missouri, and that ship it's over in Pearl. It's docked right by the Arizona Memorial, and so you have the kind of the beginning of America's involvement in World War II, and then the signing of the Japanese surrender there on the Missouri. And phenomenal ship. If you ever have a chance to tour, it was actually attacked by kamikazes, and the damage to the ship is still there because you couldn't replace the steel for where it is. But the Marine Corps has tried to get that ship pulled back into service because there is nothing better to shell a target prior to a land invasion than that ship. And that ship operated from World War II all the way through. It fought in the Gulf War.
Yeah.
And so there is still a need for a battleship type ship, and so the Missouri is still owned by the United States Navy. It's just run by this group,
right?
But it's still owned by the U.S. Navy. So
Navy.
They could pull it out and have it.
And I think
did you know those turrets are held on by gravity?
Isn't that amazing?
They're not bolted on in any
they're
way.
just so heavy that they stay.
They stay. One of those turrets weighs more than like an early World War II or World War I era battleship. And it's designed so if the ship breaks, like 45 or 48 degrees, those turrets, in theory, will fall off and the ship will right itself.
That's amazing.
I don't know what made me go off on that tangent.
It's
an amazing ship.
You just like to show how smart you are, and that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I am.
And there are some other ships that are out there, and the chat's pointing them out now, the USS Texas, the Enterprise, a couple ships that are in like museum-type status right now that can get called back up. Obviously, we have the Constitution.
Yeah.
And
the Hornet.
Dude, how awesome would that be?
We've talked about it.
Well,
if I become president, I am going to, because it is still a U.S. flagged ship.
Yep.
I am going to pull that thing out. I'm going to have the crew sail it across the world to somewhere and fire the cannon at some
Just
little
once.
fishing trawler, and then say that it fought in that campaign. Give it a campaign ribbon.
Well, you know what? With all the jump jet technology and everything, you could pull out something like the Hornet or an older one like that where you don't need the big runoff. And to retrofit it, I'm sure would not be as expensive. And maybe that's the route we need to go. Maybe we need to retrofit a couple ships that we already have.
Or some of these subs that are, even though Ohio-class subs.
Yeah.
I don't know what it'll take to get them back.
Well, because of the
Because of the
reactor and
nuclear
everything,
reactor.
they can only get another couple years out of them.
Well, replace the reactor.
No, but
Throw the old one in the ocean.
You have to shell it after that, just because of the amount of wear that the reactor does on the body. It has to just go. Yeah, no, that's what I mean. There's no right answer. We need to have replacements. The reactor just does so much to the metal that they just can't. They have to absolutely pull it out. So that's the information that I was given, and the SS Obama would just be a golf course.
It's a golf course.
You know,
it would run from everything.
And if need be, we would donate the USS Sackheads if we ever got our aircraft carrier. If it had to go back into service,
right?
Absolutely. If not, would give us our letters of marque.
Give us letters of marque,
and we'll be
go,
chasing.
Give us letters of marque and the Missouri.
We don't deserve the Missouri. We haven't done anything to deserve the Missouri. We'll buy something. We'll buy an old one. We don't deserve the Missouri. No way.
Or a destroyer. I'll take
there
an
we
old
go.
destroyer.
There's a couple in the mothball fleet we could pull out. We could do something with that.
Right.
I'll take an old destroyer. But yeah, listen, we're good. We're not that good. But yeah, no, it's a dangerous time, and we should. You have a lot of people pointing from the Navy that are pointing up with the numbers of ships that we need to cover the amount of work that we're doing. Mm-hmm. The reach of the ships does not account for the amount of work that it can do at the same time. Yes, our ships and our aircraft have a lot of reach, but that doesn't mean that if we get into a huge situation...
We can't. We're supposed to have a military that is able to fight 2 wars simultaneously.
Right, and we're already at 2.
Well, 2 major wars.
I would still argue we're at 2.
I don't think we're in 2 major wars, but I don't think we have the resources now to be able to fight 2 major wars. And by major wars, I'm talking, say...
We have a war on women.
Right, that's right. I forgot, and a war on white people. And we're fighting both of those. You specifically are fighting both of those.
Why me?
Because you're full of hate.
Sacco's right there.
Yeah, Sacco's taking enough heat tonight. It's your turn.
Okay, fine. I'll own it. I'll own it after the break. We're not up against the break yet.
Comments.
We get to part 3.
Have you seen the mixed message that the Pentagon and the State Department are giving on the carrier, on the carriers shadowing these shipments?
No.
So it's the Theodore Roosevelt that's in there, and the Pentagon is saying, "Hey, we're there shadowing and conducting reconnaissance of these shipments," and the Pentagon's saying, "Oh no, we're just there to make sure that we're keeping shipping lanes open."
How are you going to keep shipping lanes open if you're not going to do anything?
Well, maybe that's how they're going to keep shipping lanes open.
By not doing anything?
Right.
I see reverse psychology.
Right.
Now I see it.
Because by keeping
maybe they will balk. But is that something that we need to be taking a chance with right now? Do we need to have... Because if they don't balk, what happens then? Where's the quote-unquote red line?
What I want to know is if we're there just to ensure that commerce is
McHale's
unaffected.
Navy. I would love to take a bunch of PT boats and go hunt pirates.
Yes.
Who's in?
I'm in.
All right, let's do
I'm
it.
in.
Everyone in the chat room, if you're in, let us know. Email Sacco at shrmedia.com.
Why is it our job as a nation to keep shipping lanes open in that area, in that region?
Right. Well, because it affects the whole economy of the world.
Why is that our job?
I understand that. I'm not saying it's right, but that is why. That is their purpose. That is their reason that they're giving.
Not.
And
that's the reason they're giving.
Right.
But why is that our job?
Well,
look,
again, where's the United
send
Nations?
The asset. Look, you stopped your airstrikes. Send the asset to go blow them up if they're bringing arms over there.
And call it a
we're
day.
stopping that. Call it a day.
Right.
They're not supposed to do it. There's a blockade. blow them up, and get your ass back to where you're supposed to be to start your bombing again.
Egg, you get to launch depth charges on the PT boats. No problem, buddy.
Right?
I agree.
What are we going to do? We're just going to sit there and shadow them? It's
How
not
about
our
this?
job to direct traffic.
Why don't we blow them up before they leave port and block their port with their sunken ships and just call it a day?
Right. And then give them $50 billion.
Here's for the ship. Sorry.
Right.
It's almost like Han Solo tipping in the Mos Eisley's casino. Sorry about the mess.
Right.
Who shot first? We did. But that's the problem. We'll never shoot first with this administration. They're going to wait till we're once again victimized. And they're just not. Foreign policy disaster.
Better. What? That was a segue.
When we come back, next 30 minutes is all about Hillary Cankles, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back here on the Sackheads Radio Show on the SHR Media Network.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. You didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying calf for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
This is Tammy Jackson, inviting you to join me on The Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on the 405radio.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberties, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that's not like all the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific for me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
Who listens to the Andrea Kaye Show? Let's find out as we eavesdrop on listener Roger Johnson in Encinitas.
You know, if our policy is going to be bring any child who comes across the border to coordination, we have to take them in.
Okay, so apparently Roger fell asleep in the middle of my brilliant political tirade, and now he plans to sue me because I put him on the air, sleeping. Obviously, he's a liberal.
Snoring, not an option while listening to the Andrea Kaye Show, Tuesday mornings at 11 on Financial News and Talk.
You know I'm right. Y'all know I'm right.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Welcome to part 3.
That wasn't for me?
No, that wasn't for you. Welcome to part 3. This is where we really just start to get our gusto.
That's where you start to get your gusto.
That's where your mom got her gusto.
Sacco's mom got her gusto.
Speaking of gusto, guess who doesn't have any right now? Good old Hillary Clinton.
She's got gumption.
A new book that just came out from the New York Times. A writer for the New York Times, of all people, wrote this.
Why?
Well, and we're going to get into why, because that is the big question to ask. But essentially, it alleges a ton of things. It just like the book from the Insider, the White House Insider, and now this is going to allege a bunch of things. But one of the biggest ones that it's alleging so far is that essentially she was using her position of Secretary of State, making promises to foreign countries and taking money in return for the Clinton Foundation, which will in turn fund her run to the White House. That's going to be totally okay, right?
Well, yeah, why?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. When you can use your appointed position as Secretary of State to go to other countries to essentially wink, nudge, handshake, big meaty handshake,
big old ham hock,
and make political promises to these nations in returns for donations to your private organization to fund, which it will fund, her election campaign.
I would think that would be illegal.
No, it's fine.
It's fine.
Well, she hasn't gotten into trouble for anything anyways. Who's to tell her she can't? I mean, think about it. Bill, there's a comedian out there. I can't remember his last name. He's from Boston. His first name is Bill. I'll think of it in a few minutes. But he talked about Schwarzenegger when it came out about his affair. And it essentially says, this guy has never been told no. He's been in the zone his entire life. He started off as a bodybuilder, became the absolute one of the biggest action heroes on the face of the planet. That wasn't enough. He became the governor of California, barely able to speak the language. Who's going to tell this guy he can't have an affair with his maid? That would never even cross the line. He's been in his zone for years. Hillary's no different. She was removed from part of the prosecutorial team with Nixon, or the investigatory team,
because
unethical behavior. And the guy who was going after Nixon kicked her out for that.
Right.
That's saying something. Then you have Whitewater. You have her association with Alinsky. You have the
Monica.
Monica. You have
Monica Alinsky.
Monica Alinsky. I wonder if it was his daughter. He was just trying to prove Hillary to get her strong.
Right.
Then you have, like I said, you had Whitewater. Then they're stealing furniture from the White House on their way out the door, acting like that's totally okay. Never held accountable for any of this.
Right.
She's never been held accountable, period.
Well, what does it matter?
What difference does it make? Right? So who's to tell her that as Secretary of State, she can't turn around and take money from foreign countries for promises for her own foundation?
She didn't take it.
Right. The Clinton Foundation took it.
Right, which is a separate entity.
I'm sorry. I totally forgot Benghazi in the emails. I forgot to throw that in there, too.
How do you forget about that?
I was just trying to get back to my point. So who's going to tell Hillary Clinton no?
Sackheads.
Right. Who should be telling her?
Sackheads.
A judge.
Right.
Maybe the prison guard.
Eric Holder.
The prison guard should be telling her, no, sorry, Hillary, you can't move to that square yet. You haven't had permission. It is amazing to me.
No, Hillary, you can't smuggle hot dogs back to your cell. There.
How did Bill get in again? It's a women's prison. Hey, guys.
They know Bill.
Hey, Big Willie style. He's high-fiving him as he's running down. Just happened to be here. Conjugal visit? Yeah. With Hillary? Oh, why is she at this one? I had no idea.
I meant, yeah.
I guess I'll go off to one of the other ones. I thought she was moved. I'm just here to keep morale up amongst the prisoners. But it is completely insane. The good part is it's starting to look like people are catching on. Her numbers.
But why?
Well,
why would such a liberal organization like the New York Times report this? Because
they don't want her.
Right. Right. I think there's a huge push from the liberal side that they don't want her. They think she's going to be too moderate. And so Hillary, I mean, everybody's kind of crowning her. Even the Republican nominees are all kind of ganging up on Hillary right now. But she might not survive because she's taking heat from all of the Republican nominees so far. I mean, Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, they've all kind of ganged up against Clinton, and now she's taking heat from the left also.
Well,
and I don't know how she has a ton of cash, but with all these scandals coming out, and this is a liberal newspaper that's bringing this out, that's pushing it.
And look how many scandals are hitting her. We haven't even hit 2016 yet on the calendar. It's not even November. It's nothing.
Right.
And the left is already going after her. Her own peeps, if you will, are attacking her. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't even think she makes the primary.
And I don't know, because you have the other three big liberal names kind of going after Bernie Sanders, who's an independent,
who has great chicken,
right? Who's a great chicken.
Right.
He was a colonel.
He was a colonel. Yeah.
I'm not
Wears
sure.
The white
that's
suit.
unconfirmed.
He's a white suit and the black.
That's unconfirmed. Right. O'Malley,
right.
Webb, they're all going after Hillary in this right now, and I know they're trying to kind of level the playing field a little bit, but with this concerted attack between all of them, now the New York Times involved, these other liberal organizations attacking Hillary, plus the Republicans going after her, I don't know that she survives it.
Yeah, no.
She has a huge political machine. She has more money saved up than any other campaign in history.
Right. She's ready to go.
So she is ready to go.
Interesting to see if a judge rules how much of that can be admitted, though.
And there's still 48% of something like that of the Dem who would still vote for her just because of her name.
Yes. That's like, remember in the 70s when Pintos were exploding whenever the wind blew?
Right.
It's like people still be like, yeah, I get to buy it. It has the word Ford on it. Yeah, but they literally explode if you bump into a curb. Yeah, I'm still buying it.
Right.
I'm still going to buy the car that blows up because it has the name. It's all about the name, baby.
Yeah.
But we've seen that before with Obama, right? They didn't vote the candidate. They voted the image of Obama in their office. They never asked about the candidate.
They didn't know about him.
Right.
He told us what he was trying to do. We were going to fundamentally transform the United States of America, right?
They did.
Yeah.
But there was no vetting, and it's going to be the same thing with Hillary, I'm afraid.
She's been vetted.
I'm going to walk
That's the
that
problem.
back.
She's been vetted, and look at all the crap that she's been caught up in.
Mm-hmm.
And yet she still has 48% of Dems who are going to vote for her.
But that's totally okay.
If you had a Republican with that much scandal...
Oh, forget it. They'd be destroyed. It would
absolutely.
And that shows you the bias in the media.
With just one of these.
Right. Only one. And it's the bias in the media.
Or a Republican president that passed a lot of these regulations and done all the executive actions to the extent that Obama has and the things that he's done.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty crazy.
A Republican would have been impeached.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's all about image and it's all about opinion. It has nothing to do with the facts. It's scary to me how far away from the facts we've gotten in this country and how, as long as you have...
We don't have an educated electorate. That's the problem.
Well, but that's also by design as well.
It is.
You've watched the downfall of it. And I talked about it. Alfonso Rachel from Zoe Nation has a great video out right now, which essentially he talks about how the Democrats who are raging against the Republicans for not... black people are raging against Republicans for not giving them anything, are essentially slave to Democrats. If you have a chance, you need to check that video out. But again, we've become a nation of just followers. And
how many college students can't tell you who the vice president of the United States is?
How can you not know? You figure beer pong, the college lifestyle, that's right up Joe's alley. You figured he'd be a legend. He'd be like Frank the Tank from Old School.
No, but I'm being serious.
I know.
How many college
probably 20%.
Can't tell you what
I bet you 25%
more
maybe.
Than that.
No. I mean that know it. So 75% that can't.
I think less than that. No, or even basic constitutional principles.
None. It's not taught anymore. Nothing's taught anymore.
It's not.
Most kids probably don't know that per the Constitution,
you have to have 11 carrier.
You have to have 11 carrier groups.
Case in point, you're a product of that system.
I'm pretty sure it's in there. I'm going to go with that to the end. But it's sad, and you're 100% right. And they don't. And here's the other thing with social media. And I talk about it all the time. We use social media for this show, but we don't use it to gain information. We use it to share information
and smart-ass comments.
A lot of smart-ass comments. But most people turn to social media for quote-unquote facts. And you look at the scandals that have rocked this country recently and how many of them were blown out of proportion by social media, and it turned out to be a false outrage. You know, look at Michael Brown. prime example. How many people went absolutely just crazy over that shooting, and then you come to find out it was completely on the up and up. Oh, and it was so on the up and up, even the DOJ can't touch him, Officer Darren Wilson. But even to this day, if you throw it out there on Twitter, people will just rage on. And there was a study I read the other day that said, incidents involving police, shootings, etc., are not up by any stretch of the imagination. And the numbers have held, to the population, the percentage is held equal for about 15 or 20 years, if not gone down. And people are still acting like this is something that is just rampant because of social media.
I saw a college-aged student wearing a shirt that said "Kill a Cop" right across the front. This big "Kill a Cop," and then on the back it said, "We need to kill cops for these reasons," and I had a bunch of reasons listed. And I was so disgusted I didn't even want to read all of the reasons.
I wish you had a giant red marker so you could go up and correct it,
Kiss,
like a teacher.
Kiss a cop. Instead of
well,
kill,
no, on the
change
back,
two
like
L's
all
to
the
an
reasons
S.
you could be like, oh, big red X. No, that's wrong because of X, Y, and Z. Or,
Right. But here's what I thought about. First of all, I support that person's right to wear that shirt.
Absolutely.
Right? I disagree with the message 110%.
I have no problem when people wear shirts that says, I'm a moron. And that way I know what I'm dealing with when I'm getting into the conversation.
Exactly. So I completely support her right to wear that shirt and to spread.
Or his right?
No, it was a female. And to
I thought we were talking in
message.
generality. Sorry.
No. But what saddened me is what I thought. I said, wow, you know what? You know how many cops would give their life to protect her right to wear that shirt?
Yeah. A majority. A vast majority.
Yeah.
I would say high 90s.
And so to have somebody wear that shirt and just with just such disregard, just the thought of just knowing that those men and women would do that for her right to do that, it kind of made me sick.
Well,
but
that's the thing. They don't realize how many people, law enforcement, military, etc., protect their freedoms that they rail on a regular basis. And it's a point to this country where, because they don't know where their freedoms come from. They don't know why their freedoms are important. They're just so used to having it that they've never seen the sacrifice for it. And, I throw a lot of it back to the 60s and the hippie movement and Kerry and people like that. And obviously Alinsky and how many people, you look at how many crazy lunatic lefties got their start in the 60s. Bill Ayers and that
they put on a suit now.
Yeah. Yeah. You literally have John Kerry, who is just one of the biggest atrocities to military, to the military in general, throw his medals back and testify against Congress, and he's now the damn Secretary of State.
Sickening.
It's frightening.
Yeah.
People don't realize that, and they don't realize how much it's gone downhill. And this false outrage.
Well, how many people know that? How many news stories
talk
ran
about
that
it?
He did that?
Talk at all?
Nobody.
Nope. Swift Boat Kerry.
Yet if that was a Republican,
everybody would talk about it.
Talking about it.
And again, a lot of it's not just mainstream media anymore. It's social media. It is they're not called Democrats. They're called Democrats now, not hippies. I didn't mean to be socially wrong with how I said that.
So I just did some research.
Yeah.
There's a law in the California books about criminal threats.
Mm-hmm.
Making a threat, death or serious bodily injury. So I want to know, like, if a cop saw that shirt and then arrested her because he felt threatened by that and then took the shirt for evidence.
Nope. It would never fly.
Yeah, no, it would never fly.
You never do that.
It would never fly.
Well, and,
But just to send a message to her.
But you deal, that's one person. But we have to deal with people in mass at this point. The people need to be
What are you, Mao?
No,
okay, Stalin.
No, but part of the problem is, and I'm going to make a re-education joke, but part of the problem is the education that they're
right on point.
Absolutely. But the education they have is not a true education. It's not a true history of our nation. It's not how things really are in the world. It's what they're being spoon-fed. They're just sitting there with their mouth open. And look at how many people think that the federal government controlling everything is a good thing.
Yes, and it's their job to take care of that.
Every part of it.
Yeah.
It's your job
to do
to
job
this.
to
their
fix
job.
whatever the problems. It's their job.
So you look at where we are and how somebody like Bill de Blasio, who all of a sudden starting to talk foreign policy, the whack job mayor in New York.
Communist.
Yes. I said whack job. Same thing.
Yeah, but some people might think he's just crazy, right? Because we
Well,
call
it's
we
both.
call McCain whack job. We call a lot of people whack job. But no, he is an avowed communist.
Yes. And
wanting to run for president of the United States, potentially.
Don't we still have a law in the books about communism?
No.
Oh,
no. But you
damn
do have to support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Right. Oh, well, it's...
so there's kind of a law.
There is kind of a law. There is a law. There is a law in the books. It's going to get crazy, and it's only going to get worse.
It already is crazy.
Yeah, but it's going to get worse. I don't predict Hillary's going to make it through the primary. I really don't.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. I've said this for a while now. I say it's going to be Elizabeth Warren. I just, for whatever reason, I think they feel
The left
she's
really likes her.
She's the most
far
controllable person on the left. She's
Really likes her.
she's lock and step. She's, like I said before, she's playing the reluctant candidate right now, being begged. So then she can really champion the people because she's being begged into this position. My people need me. I mean, that's her whole approach on this. Hillary says she's a champion of the people, but she doesn't even know small business is struggling.
Right. But she can order Chipotle.
Wait, small business is struggling?
She can order Chipotle.
Yeah, she can, but she won't pay for it. Somebody else had to.
With extra guac.
With extra guac, baby. The funniest, there's two funny stories out there right now. There's a video, and Hillary's such a person of the people. There's a video out there right now of her Scooby wagon parked in a no parking zone, and somebody points it out to her, and she just kind of laughs. There's another video of her being asked about this book coming out and whether or not she completely ignores the questions and does the whole fake smile and handshake as she goes on. And then 2 days ago in New Hampshire, her motorcade was spotted doing like 95 miles an hour so they weren't late for a meeting. And she's not even president yet. She doesn't have the absolute power, if you will, that would come with the office.
Right. She's not even the nominee yet.
No.
So,
and she's already acting like an
a-hole. And she has some
a-hole.
Secret Service protection because
of
First Lady,
right.
because of Bill. But
not to that point.
Right.
It's not that the president needs to get somewhere for X, Y, and Z, and it's...
Or for expediency,
right,
for
safety,
security.
whatever.
Right.
Where it's acceptable. This isn't it. This is just her like, no, hurry up. She was probably late. She flew coach the other day just to make it feel like... Can you imagine? And I... Say you're like the conservative guy on a business trip, and you just did like a 4-leg trip where you're in, you just all night you're going, you're working at night, you're working during the day, you're on this horrid trip, and then it's time to fly home. And you get down into, you're in coach on Southwest, or even worse, United or something like that, where the seats are just like the size of like a cup. And you squeeze yourself into the seat, and you're all cramped in, and then you look up,
like you in a lazy boy,
like me in a stadium. And then you look up and you're like, oh, I hope no one sits next to me. I hope no one's... Crap, is that Hillary Clinton? Oh, don't sit next to me. And then she comes in and she didn't just how there's responsibility on a plane. Like, this is my space, that's your space.
Right.
But that didn't happen.
Right.
Sat down, hey, I'm Hillary Clinton, blah, 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 blah. Oh, can you hold my bag? Well, when I say hold my bag, I mean hold my bag. Don't drop it. Just hold my bag and shut up for a second. I have to send a text. I don't know if she really said this. I'm just throwing.
It's an unconfirmed.
It's an unconfirmed idea. But can you
throughout.
imagine? I just
Right.
picture that poor person after this.
And then
long
she sends the text and she looks over at you with hunger in her eyes and gravy dripping from her chin. And says, I've always wanted to join the Mile High Club.
Is there any
and
food
then
on?
You throw up a little bit in your mouth.
Is there any food on this flight?
Wait, what are we talking about?
Is there gonna be? But no, just can you picture the one time you have to fly home and she's like, oh, all of a sudden I'm going to fly coach.
I'd be like, this seat's taken. She'd be like Forrest Gump getting on the bus.
No, Mrs. Clinton, I don't think
Taken.
they allow bombs on this plane. She said it.
She said it.
She said bomb.
You can't say bomb in a plane.
Bomb.
Even better, I just picture her like yapping to this poor guy who works, like just working his ass off his whole life.
Yeah, she doesn't want to talk to the common folk.
Well, no, because she's in public. She has to make it look like she's one of the people. So she's just throwing out her BS baloney lines. And they're in an emergency aisle because she probably sprang the extra $15 for the leg room.
Right.
And this guy's just looking at the handle at 30,000 feet.
I can pull it.
I could end this right now. I've never thought about it before. I don't agree.
Would you strike up an inappropriate conversation with her?
Everything I say is inappropriate.
That's
so
why
yes.
I'm asking.
Yes.
What would you ask her? Just to put her off and to get her kind of off her game.
Right off the bat?
Yeah, right off the bat. What would you ask her?
Benghazi.
Would you? Oh, so you'd go serious. You'd go business.
How do you sleep at night knowing that you allowed 4 people to die?
You wouldn't go complete DB and just try and get her sideways.
No, because you know what? If I had that one-on-one, I would want to have that conversation. I really would. I would want to get her so frustrated that either the truth would come out or the fangs would come out, one or the other.
It'd be the fangs.
And that's fine.
Because the truth wouldn't come out.
That's fine. Be interesting if you get her flustered enough. Listen, there's video out there of when she gets flustered.
It'd be great.
She has a tendency to
Hi,
snap.
I'm Sean, Sack Kids Radio. Sack Kids Radio. Thanks for sitting down next to me. But after the cabin
she's just
doors
in the middle
shut
of the two of us.
and you're
No,
taxing.
10,000 feet.
Yep.
Just
can't switch.
I just pull out the recorder and put it in front of her. It's going to be a long flight, ma'am. But I have a few questions I need to ask you. First and foremost, how do you feel about your husband having an affair? Has that still bother you to this day or what? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I don't mean to get you flustered. U.S. Debt Ambassador, I'll get to that one. Whitewater,
We'll get to that one.
47 bodies.
Hang on, we got a
Clinton.
good one. This came in from one of our sources that wanted us to ask, since we just tweeted out that we were sitting next to you. After Monica, did you work to get better at oral? This came from somebody in our chat room. This wasn't us.
That is listener at inappropriate on Twitter. I don't know, but
I'm going to apologize.
We're one of the people. We're one of the people.
Right.
And we're just trying to get that vessel. We're a vessel for people to ask questions to you. So I'm going to move on. Let's go all the way back. I'll get to Alinsky. Why were you kicked out of the investigation with Nixon? Just start there and just watch. That she may pull the handle on the emergency row at that point. That would be. But she has her own hand-picked media contingency that travels with her that she speaks to directly. Right. And that's the only one she's answering questions for. All the other media people that show up at these events and shout questions at her, essentially she is not answering them. Great airplane reference in the chat room. Looks like I picked the wrong day to stop using cocaine. Have you ever been
that's
to
what she would say?
Yes. Yes.
Perhaps.
Jimmy, have you ever been in a Turkish prison?
Gladiator movies?
Do you like gladiator movies? Looked like I picked the wrong day to stop sniffing glue. Such a classic. You know what? That movie you watch now, and it still holds water after all these years. It is just so insane. And the funny part about it is, maybe it was part 2. It doesn't really matter. They were talking, like the terrorism movie. The terrorism thing came up, and it was the Iranians.
Right.
Where I'm like, it just keeps repeating itself.
Right.
Like it never ends.
We've talked about that.
Oh man! But yes,
I think an O'Malley challenge would be interesting to Hillary because he's been a supporter of hers forever.
Yes, and now he's really shot venom at her.
Yeah,
essentially said
he hasn't come out and challenged her directly yet in terms of.
Well, he's pretty much said he doesn't think she's qualified.
No. But what I meant was he hasn't thrown his hat in the ring officially.
Right.
To
Nobody
challenge
has.
yet. Nobody has. But he's the one who
they don't have the money to.
O'Malley does. I think.
He could.
Yes. I think out of any of the others, I think he's the one that has the financial backing to be able to do it. And he would pull, just based upon his support from the Clintons, he would pull a significant amount of money away from the Clintons, I believe.
Right. He could split the Clintons out, and I think we've talked about that before. Yeah. But whoever the left throws their name behind is going to have a ton of money. And that's the sad part about it. Because people aren't going to donate because of the candidate. They're going to donate because the left wants them to. And you're going to have all the talking heads, all the people who owe taxes on MSLOD, and really they're just going to push to whoever that person is. Whoever Debbie Washman Schultz nods her nasty little face at to be the
cackles and points at.
I pick O'Malley. I mean, that's pretty much what's going to happen.
And that could be a direct quote. That sounds.
That was an audio clip, actually.
Right,
I think that was an audio
clip of Debbie Wasserman. Thank you, Sacco. When we come back, talk about McCain versus Rand Paul.
Yes.
A little feud going on right there. Old Cuckoo Clock McCain has some choice words.
Yeah, no, we definitely, absolutely insane.
I want to touch on an interesting story out of Germany as well.
Yeah, and there's a couple other stories I want to talk about.
Yeah, we're not going to have time. So
all
when
right,
we come
we'll be back at 3 here on the Sackheads Radio Show on the SHR Media
In a
Network.
world controlled by corrupt politicians.
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
A team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying calf for the stupid promo.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
This is Tammy Jackson, inviting you to join me on the Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on the 405radio.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberties, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that's not like all the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific for me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
Who listens to the Andrea Kaye Show? Let's find out as we eavesdrop on listener Roger Johnson in Encinitas.
You know, if our policy is going to be bring any child who comes across the border to coordination, we have to take them in.
Okay, so apparently Roger fell asleep in the middle of my brilliant political tirade, and now he plans to sue me because I put him on the air, sleeping. Obviously, he's a liberal.
Snoring, not an option while listening to The Andrea Kaye Show, Tuesday mornings at 11 on Financial News and Talk.
You know I'm right. Y'all know I'm right.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show, live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Again.
No, you just thanked me. You can't thank
No,
me.
really, I'm not really talking to you. We've kind of talked about that off the air. But good, you had a story or something.
No.
Okay, good.
No, go ahead, smart Alec.
So there's a judge out of...
So John McCain. That's our John McCain sound right there.
I love that sound.
So earlier,
Not yet.
no, not yet. Rand Paul called John McCain and Lindsey Graham lapdogs for Obama's foreign policy earlier this week, and I think it was an absolute accurate description of those two wingnuts. That's politically correct, right? Is McCain a protected class yet because he's old?
I think, I think there's some class protection there.
So, okay. So the old guy.
The old guy.
But John McCain came out and said that Rand Paul is the worst possible candidate. when it comes to the issue of national security.
Way to support the team, pal.
Yeah. Does that mean anything?
No. I think John McCain is just so far gone at this point.
I think John McCain saying that is actually like a backdoor endorsement.
Right. I think anyone is like,
Rand Paul. Oh, McCain doesn't like him, so
well,
this guy's probably pretty good.
And I know the argument out there is, well, he's on the Armed Services Committee, so he has some sort of insider information. No,
he's a wingnut.
He's like he's almost like the guy from Office Space who keeps getting moved around. And he's now in the basement. And they're not really paying him anymore, but he just keeps showing up. That's kind of where McCain's at right now.
Right. He says Senator Paul is the worst possible candidate of the 20 or so that are running on the most important issue, which is national security. Now, first of all, I didn't know we had 20 people declare yet.
Right. Well, at his age, you just throw a number out there arbitrarily.
Okay, I'm sorry. 1 inch is not 6 inches, John McCain. So I don't know
Egg says he has a protected class because he's an actual historical landmark. I did not know that.
I did not. I didn't know that either. Oh, somebody else said he smells like pee.
He's like the uncle who keeps showing up at Thanksgiving dinner even though he smells like pee.
Gotta love our listeners.
Unconfirmed.
He was asked if he would support Paul if he were the nominee against Hillary Clinton, and he said, well, yeah, I would support the nominee for my party. I'm a loyal Republican. I would hope that good sense would prevail here because the realities of the world today do not allow for an isolationist policies.
Uh-huh. So basically,
he said George Washington is full of crap.
Well, and basically,
my headline, if I wrote this story, would be John McCain hates George Washington.
That is kind of perfect.
That would be my headline. That's how I would spin this story if I were in the media.
But here's what else he said, and this tells you who John McCain is. He's essentially saying that it doesn't matter what the Republicans do, I'm on board.
Right.
It doesn't matter what Mitch McConnell or Reince Priebus or whoever it is, wherever they point is where I'm going, which tells you that he's not a man of principle anymore. He's a man of party, and he's scary.
Yeah, but we've known that for a while.
But it's just worse.
Is it just me, or is he looking more and more like Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars?
Excellent.
Doesn't he?
Good.
Have you seen a recent picture of him?
Yes. You put him side by side, you put a cloak on him, he's good to go.
I nailed it, right?
Yeah, Darth Sidious.
Yeah. I need some props then, Sean.
Senator Sidious.
Senator Sidious.
Emperor Palpatine was Senator Palpatine before he was Emperor. So
yes, he was.
Vis-a-vis.
So look,
whatever that means.
Well, maybe this is why McCain doesn't want a presidential election. Maybe he just wants to become emperor.
Jersey Joe says he is old enough to know George Washington and they were classmates. So maybe he doesn't like George Washington. Maybe they didn't get along.
And this could be why he doesn't like his isolationist policies.
You lived it firsthand. Maybe we should be listening to McCain.
Maybe McCain is who put the aircraft carrier requirement into the Constitution.
He is on the Armed Services Committee. He probably was back then, too.
That's why.
Exactly. See, it's all coming back now.
Everything is
it's on the hidden amendment.
Makes sense. The 20 or so that are running. Really? I only know
the 20 or
3.
so.
Yeah.
What are you watching, a marathon? What? Right. Are you watching the Boston Marathon, John? They're not all running for office.
Yeah.
They're running a race.
Yeah.
Just, I know the Kenyan won again, but still, John, come on.
All right. The other story I wanted to talk about. There's a former Auschwitz guard.
Yes.
Former SS sergeant that is actually going on trial for his role in the operations of Auschwitz.
Oh, that's what it says on the board? I thought SS Accountant was another ship we were taking out of mothballs.
No, yeah, we are.
I was like, we have a ship called the Accountant?
So Oscar Groening is being tried in court. His trial started on
nickname Moaning.
Tuesday.
Moaning and Groaning.
That was his
partner,
that
right?
Was his partner.
Right.
Yeah, and that's where the phrase actually comes from. Most people don't know that.
Even we can find humor in this.
And the fact that it was at Auschwitz makes your dark humor even sicker about the moaning and groaning.
It's about his name.
Whatever.
It had nothing to do with anything else.
It was the context, though, and
you're
being censored for your actions right now by SHR Media. So he's being tried on 300,000 counts of accessory to murder, which in Germany carries a potential sentence of 3 to 15 years.
Yeah. What?
Right. Let me say that again.
Where is this, California?
He is being tried on 300,000 counts.
Is he being charged in California?
Right.
New York, what?
3 to 15 year mandatory sentence. So it's mandatory.
What? I did not know that was the sentencing on that.
Yes.
That is absolutely ridiculous.
Yes. But he's being tried under this new theory that Germany is trying, where it's basically, hey, if you helped operate a camp, like if you were a cog in the wheel, you can be held accountable. And this is kind of a new thing because he's testified in other Nazi war crime trials as what he witnessed while he was there. And he was called the accountant because his job as a sergeant, when the trains would roll in with the cattle cars full of the Jewish people, when they came out and they were separated and most of them went to the death chambers, he would get their belongings, and actually the money that was stolen from them, he would keep track and tally all of the money. So although he never had any direct part of the killing, they're still trying him under the theory of, well, you helped by operating the camp as a member of the SS. You worked there. So basically because you worked there, you are an accessory to the atrocities that happened there. And he has gone on and testified before about the things he'd seen and the atrocities that was there. And he talks about it, about how processing the Jewish people as they came in. And in his testimony, it was very orderly.
And
they finished
calm
one train
and orderly
first before they had the second train behind that was pulled up, and then they'd open it up and process that train. Very methodical in how he described the operation. Talked about how sometimes you had up to 5,000 people that were quote-unquote processed within a 24-hour period. But
that's frightening.
Yeah. So he's 93 years old, and he's talking about his role and kind of what was happening there at the camp. And so, but the debate is, this guy had no direct correlation, no direct link to the killings. There's no evidence of that at all. But just the fact that he worked there, should you hold somebody accountable simply because they were in the military and worked at a particular installation? He wasn't an officer either.
No, but he
was a sergeant. So if he said no, he's not going to do his duty, he would have been killed, most likely.
Yeah, but he was a sergeant in the SS. He wasn't just a German soldier. He was an SS sergeant.
Right.
You had to actively become part of the SS. You had to work. It was actually, for them, it was considered a hierarchy. You didn't just waltz into the SS. It wasn't like enlisting.
They didn't waltz. I think they
You didn't goose-step.
Or they goose-stepped.
I think they goose-stepped into it. But you didn't just show up and become part of the SS. And one of the things, too, that's striking about this that makes me think he has more than he's letting on as far as what he did, you're also not in charge of the money of the people who are being brought in.
If you're not trusted.
If you're not trusted.
Exactly.
And if you're trusted, you're part of the inner circle. You know, I think this guy is guilty. I think he has a hand in it just as much as any other SS
But has a
guard.
hand in what? You think he actually took part in the killings?
By his actions, yes.
How?
How? He was helping processing.
Right, but how does that have anything to do with the killings themselves? If he didn't operate the gas chambers, he wasn't actively hurting them towards...
I think being an active member in the
Now, that's
SS...
different, right? If you're actively hurting them or whatnot. So does that mean every member of the SS should be tried?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe so.
Okay, then on that theory, I understand where you're coming
from.
from.
I absolutely believe so. You know, the German soldiers...
Because they were a member of an organization.
They were a willing member of a political organization whose one of its main
So if
goals
somebody from
was...
the Ku Klux Klan were to murder a minority member, should all Klansmen be held for that murder? Why not?
Totally,
why not?
Totally different argument
How
you're
so?
having here. Because now, if the Klansmen started a murder machine killing millions of blacks, and they were involved? Yes, absolutely.
Every single member.
An individual, yes.
Okay.
An individual action, because they're doing the same thing that the Nazis did. And I believe that if you were a willing participant of the SS...
So every member of ISIS, every single member, whether they actively participated in beheadings or not, should be tried, because they came out that they're killing people based on ideology now.
Yeah.
Much like the Nazis did.
Yep.
And it's the first time this
I'm
recent
okay with
video
it.
came up.
I'm okay with it.
So try them all.
Yes.
Just for being a member of the organization.
Yes.
Okay.
Because if you're willingly part of that organization, knowing what the atrocities are doing, they're doing, if you will.
You really think he knew, being the accountant there, of all these dead people's clothes, that they knew they were actually killing them and they weren't just dying of natural causes? Do you honestly believe that, Sean?
Yes. I believe when you can process train full of cars a day.
And there's only 3 people tending the garden.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, at some point you have
I think that's a stretch, even for you.
I think at some point you have to turn around and say, where did they go?
Right.
Like,
what's that? Where'd that big mound come from all of a sudden?
I may not be great at math, but I'm pretty
Which
sure.
is why I'm counting money.
Which is why I'm in charge of the money.
Right.
I'm pretty sure there's more going in than coming out. Listen, he knew, and he was actively involved in it.
I'll buy that argument.
And I really believe that listen, if the guy was there for 2 weeks and was like, all right, I got to get out of here, I'm going to go to the Eastern Front and work out there, like, okay, that's a little bit different. Because I understand.
This guy was here for a while.
He was here for a year and a half?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Look, so I agree with you. I like sparring the debate and kind of bringing that side up.
Mm-hmm.
But we talked about this at dinner a little bit. Like you said, and I think that's the exact argument we had, is if you have somebody in a criminal organization and you have some members do a single act or a couple acts or whatever, you hold those individual members accountable. But once the organization starts profiting from that, or you have an organizational conspiracy to commit mass crime, murder, genocide,
anything
on
you
that, you hold all members of that organization responsible, because they knew exactly what was going on. It wasn't like a German citizen or even a German soldier who's fighting the war for his country, not really knowing or understanding what the atrocities were, or like members of the Luftwaffe who would purposefully try and stay with downed American pilots so that they weren't captured by the SS or the Gestapo, because they'd be treated differently. Those sorts of things. Completely different animal.
Well, and it becomes, and Jersey Joe just sent me a message saying, hey, someone giving false information on what was going on, and if you questioned it, meant they'd kill you.
Right.
I have to believe, and maybe...
But he's accounting for property of...
Right, and listen, I wasn't in his situation.
Right.
And I don't know if I would be able to, but I'd like to believe that with the morals that I have in my life,
his testimony, he says himself that, no, he knew you had people that would be separated. They would go to the death chambers, and then others would be released. Most of them would go through the death chambers. And he says himself that he is, quote, morally guilty. His term, not the court's term.
Right.
He said
it's up to the court to find him legally guilty.
Right. He says he considers himself morally guilty, but it was up to the court to decide if he's legally guilty or not. So he knew what was going on, and yet he maintained an active participant as a member of the SS. And he was even a little detached as he describing some of the scene being orderly and so forth, which is a completely different account than what the victim had. There was a victim who was ripped away from her mother, her and her twin sister, when she was 10 years old at the camp. Now, she didn't identify him specifically, but his own testimony puts him at the ramp.
He was there. He definitely was there.
Absolutely.
And the testimony, you've seen a lot of this out of the Nazis that have testified, saying it was very orderly, because I think for some reason in their head that makes it a little bit more okay that they weren't just ripping families apart and killing them, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know why that excuse comes up, but you've heard that before in these trials. But all the victims have said the same thing. It was pandemonium. The dogs are barking. They're being kicked out, literally physically beaten off the trains. Families, the girl who testified said she was torn away from her sister and never allowed to say goodbye, and never saw her again. These sort of things. So, I'm going to have to go with the victim on that. Obviously, I wasn't there, but we.
'93, this guy will probably die unless he gets 3 years. Maybe he might survive that.
How do you get 3 years for that?
Well, because it's 1 year per 100,000. What's the problem? You have a story.
I do have a story. So I actually came across this on the Pundit Press. Our good friend Dan Butcher and everybody else who writes for it. There's a ton of writers. But there's a Kentucky judge who claimed a 3-year-old victim was too racist and gives an armed robber a light sentence.
A life sentence? Good.
Light. L-I-G-H-T, light.
Oh.
Judge's name is Olu Stevens, gave an armed robbery and home invasion suspect a light sentence because of, like I said, he said that the sentence because the judge felt the young girl was being racist for telling her mom that she feared black people after the crime. So this had nothing to do with the crime itself. The judge made the sentence based on a statement that she made on things that occurred after the crime.
As a result of
Yes.
the crime.
The mother's testimony at one point said, whenever we're running errands, if she sees a black male, she holds on to me tight and begs to leave. It is effective.
Did the prosecutor give a statement on that?
I'm trying to find it here in the story. George Wallace, he pled guilty to the robbery. He was brought before the judge on February 4th. And the parents who were scolded by the judge and not allowed to scold Wallace.
If you were that parent, would you have taken that from the judge? I wouldn't.
No, I would have been kicked out or gone to jail.
Yeah, absolutely.
I probably would have
Right.
gone to jail.
Right.
And this Judge Stevens is Circuit Court Judge for the 30th Judicial Circuit, which presides over Jefferson County, Kentucky. And
Has there been any blowback on the judge for this?
A lot of people are upset, but he came out in a statement later and said, I wasn't criticizing the victims. I was criticizing a statement that I thought was a generalization against an entire people of race. I was cautioning the parents against allowing racial stereotypes to impact their behavior and that of their child. That statement alone is ignorant, and here's why. Many of victims who have what is known now as PTSD, and victimization, PTSD is a regular part of that.
Yeah.
You have these victims who part of the crime that was committed against them have triggers. Certain things, and I won't get into the type of crimes, but it may be a certain type of voice. It may be a sound or a song or a color.
A color?
A
Like a
color,
race?
like if it was a red shirt that somebody was being victimized
Could it be
by.
a skin color or skin tone?
It could very well be. It could just be this fact that she's a young girl and was victimized by somebody, and the trauma, she may never have looked at his face. She may only have saw his figure overall.
Or his skin tone.
Or his skin tone. That's what I mean, though. And that alone, yeah, you know what? This girl probably will need some sort of help.
And if it was a Hispanic male, a white male, it could have had the same impact.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It just happened to be
Asian male.
Black, right.
Like you said, it could have been anybody.
Exactly.
And you know what? I don't know how. Well, this is a different one. That's two different clips, Sacco. He's Johnny on the spot tonight, huh?
He is. I like it. I want to end on that last one.
I want to end on that last one, too. But there's been pounds of study, if you will, done on what triggers in victims. And the fact that this judge is so ignorant and to even make this statement.
I think the judge let his own personal
get in the way.
Yeah, his own personal belief system get in the way.
And now you have politics on the bench, in a way. Parenting on the bench. The bench is raising the children, or trying to.
Well, you have a judge lecturing the victims and the parents about their 3-year-old who is legitimately scared because of the actions of this
scumbag,
dirtbag. And instead of showing empathy for the victims or for the 3-year-old and saying, hey, I understand that what happened is a tragedy and a crime and has impacted you, and there are services available to get through this so that we don't have any long-lasting psychological issues or trauma and can deal with some of the racial issues. If that's a concern of his, he could come about it another way, right? But to give this individual a light sentence because he didn't like what the 3-year-old said, this judge, a grown adult, in theory, right, is supposed to, it can't understand that a 3-year-old, they have very basic emotional responses, right? They don't understand or have the ability to fully think through what it is they're
3-year-old
doing.
children.
They're 3-year-old children. They have, right, you tell them no, they can't have a Hot Wheels car, and they hate you. I mean,
my biggest question is if, there was 2 people that was arrested. The second guy was already on probation for robbery, and he's doing an automatic 10-year sentence. The first guy looks like got probation for this.
armed home invasion.
Armed home invasion, which is funny because it looks like the judge took to Facebook afterwards to talk about this. And real quick, he says, court brought it in front and center this week. The case involved a burglary. No, it involved a home invasion, which is totally different.
Totally different.
And the victims were a young couple and their 3-year-old child. The written victim impact statement on behalf of the child read as a result of the offense committed against her parents in her presence. So now because she's 3, she wasn't a victim as well? He assumed, or he's injecting his own thought that the child isn't being victimized. So if she's not being victimized, then there's no trauma. If there's no trauma, then she must just be a racist little kid being raised by racist parents, is what it sounds to me like he's trying to say. The child is in, quote, constant fear of black men. The statement written by her mother continues that the child clings to a parent whenever the presence of a black man. The incident, the mother concluded, has affected her relationship with her African-American friends. I read the statement aloud in court for a reason. It was a little surprise to me that neither parent nor the child was present in court for sentencing. No, it's not at all surprising. The parents don't want to bring their child back into that situation.
Right.
The trauma.
Why would you want to bring the child in there to see this guy who
for more
traumatized
trauma
her already?
Right.
And even regular victims, why would they want to go see somebody that traumatized them? Like, unless they have to for the court proceedings.
Right.
Some people deal with that type
they
of stress.
Don't want to see
they
it.
don't want to go see that person again or be in their presence. They go because they have to testify.
Unbelievable. After all, he goes on to say, the defendant and the judge were amongst the individual the 3-year-old fear as a result of the crime. Do 3-year-olds form such generalized stereotypes and racist opinion of others? Yes.
Generalized stereotypes.
He says, I think not. Perhaps the mother had attributed her own views to her child as a manner of sanitizing them. Let me be clear. The statement played no role in the sentencing decision, and the Commonwealth disavowed the statement. Needless to say, I am deeply offended, however, that this statement was put forth for the purpose of persuading me to impose a lengthy prison sentence. Had the perpetrator been white, I doubt it would have been suggested. I doubt it would have resulted in such a gross generalization. The race of a perpetrator of a crime is not a reason or excuse to fear an entire race of people. It is!
At 3 years old?
Yes, it most certainly is.
At 3 years old, it absolutely can be.
Have you ever brought a 3-year-old to a haunted house?
Yes.
And they're actually blown...
They hate ghosts.
Right.
Like all ghosts.
All ghosts
Even
afterwards.
Casper, who's a friendly ghost.
He went on to say, we must stand to fight in whatever form. As a judge, I do my work without regard of race. It is incumbent on me to confront and dispose of language based on racism and stereotypes. We should all do our part to eradicate such nonsense. And let me be clear, silence does nothing to contribute. It simply sends a message to such views are acceptable and fear.
So he gives a
somehow
lengthy
excuses
statement
wrong.
on bullshit, right? He gives a lengthy. He
actually wrote that at the end.
Right. He gives a lengthy statement on race relations, but nothing regarding to victimology or to the problem with people victimizing others or the violent crimes here. Right. Nothing about that. It's all about the race, this 3-year-old's reaction.
And I don't know the law in Kentucky, but how about part of the restitution or whatever goes to getting this child some sort
So you just reinforce the stereotype by treating her because you don't like what she had to say at 3.
Right.
Good job, Judge.
And you won't even accept the fact that this girl, as part of her trauma, could have developed this belief.
Right. Good job,
and the
Your
mother
Honor.
said,
Good job, Your Honor. Way to miss an opportunity because you could have pulled her in the back chambers, right? Hey, I'm really sorry.
Save the whole
gentleman.
situation.
Right. I'm really sorry.
He single-handedly could have
victimized.
turned it around.
Absolutely.
He could have taken that opportunity to do that.
I want you to know that I know how this affected you, sweetheart. Not all people.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.